Dear people of Earth. This is Emerelda speaking. I greet you with empathy and love. Last week Hakann made a remark about selling one's soul. Someone in the comment section disagreed with Hakann's statement. To that person, thank you for your comment, I appreciate it because it nudged me to discuss this topic in more detail. As you may have realized, creation was set up with the central value of free will. Creation wasn't set up with the central value of niceness, or comfort, or of people being protected from bad or destructive choices. Instead, it was set up with the central value of free will, and the amount of free will you can exercise is actually quite extreme when you think about it. For example, I am a mother and I think it's quite outrageous that a person is able to intentionally kill a baby. That is clearly a very destructive and hurtful choice. Yet, it is possible. You can do all kinds of horrible things to other people, and in general no law of nature or angel will step in to stop you. Similarly, nothing in the universe stops you from using hard drugs, or stops you from drinking alcohol until it kills you. Nothing in the universe stops you from grabbing a knife and wounding or even mutilating yourself. I think this illustrates that creation is set up to allow for an extreme amount of free will, including allowing actions that are clearly destructive to others or yourself. With this in mind, is it possible to make a deal with a demon along the lines of, give me riches and fame now, and in exchange after this life I, as a soul, will agree to go to a dark place and, or serve you? Yes, that is possible. You have an extreme amount of free will in creation, why wouldn't this be possible? If you make such a deal, the demon will attempt to pull you down to a dark place after your death, feeling justified in doing so. And it will probably succeed in doing so. What would normally prevent a demon from trying to pull you down, will not protect you in this case because you made a free will choice. And higher consciousness beings are pretty big on allowing people to make free will choices, even destructive ones. And that is what is called, selling your soul. Now, selling your soul is not an irrevocable or a forever process. Even after you do it, you can call on, for example, Jesus for help, and He will help you. Or if you raise your vibration and level of consciousness sufficiently through spiritual practice, you can end up in a situation where you can either resist being pulled down because the dark place doesn't energetically fit you. Or if you already were pulled down, you can become high conscious enough that you just drift up and out of the dark place you were in. Or you can grow to become powerful enough that you can defeat and usurp the dark master you promised to serve. Still, I don't recommend selling your soul. But yes, selling your soul is a real thing. You can do a search and note just how many people talk about or sing about selling their soul. Now, yes, I do know what a metaphor is, but metaphors don't spring up out of nothing. If selling your soul wasn't possible, then the term selling your soul wouldn't have any kind of emotional resonance, then that would just be a combination of words that no one would ever actually say, similar to how no one says the words duplicating your soul. Because, duplicating your soul is impossible, which is why no one says the words duplicating your soul. Well, similarly, if there wasn't such a thing as selling your soul, then no one would say those words, and instead people would talk about selling your freedom or selling your principles to refer to the idea of a person giving up their freedom or principles to become rich or famous. That's a good rule of thumb in general. If a term has emotional resonance, then there's probably something real though possibly misunderstood there. Now, maybe the words selling your soul create a picture in people's minds of their soul being irrevocably lost forever. Maybe that is why some people have a strong reaction against this concept, why they perhaps feel that selling your soul doesn't resonate to such a strong degree that they feel they can say it's nonsense. Indeed, it is true that you selling your soul doesn't mean that it's irrevocably lost forever. So, selling your soul is one thing you can do. Another thing you can do is what Elizabeth April called selling your body. That is when you make a deal, and a hostile extraterrestrial or a demon enters your body and pushes your soul to the back. Then you can do nothing but watch, as the demon or hostile extraterrestrial takes control of your body and starts moving it. If there is no intervention, you can remain like that for a long time or even until death, at which point you go to the afterlife as normal. Afterlife as normal means that a nice person goes to a nice place, while a person who seriously harmed others goes to a still relatively pleasant but not as nice place. We'll discuss why later in this message. Right now, I want to mention that no soul is sent to be tortured for eternity. That doesn't happen. Hell, in that sense, doesn't exist. Now, what does exist is a real, physical series of caves underground, where physical demons and hostile extraterrestrials were hurting humans. Fortunately, those caves were cleared between 7 December 2020 and April 28, 2021, through the efforts of an exceptional Earth human lightworker plus angels plus the Galactic Confederation. The humans in those caves were rescued and the demons and hostile extraterrestrials were dealt with. Those series of caves were the thing that gave the term hell its emotional resonance. Now, souls were never sent to those caves by the creator of the universe, but still, there were humans there and they were suffering terribly. Fortunately, no more, these are just empty caves now. That was one of the mechanisms that the dark forces used to lower the vibration of humanity and actually that of the earth itself. Deep in the earth, they made a group of humans suffer terribly and never again let them see the sun. Through the collective subconscious, this stressed out and dampened all earth humans. Plus, the dark forces feed off suffering. It makes me very happy that these earth humans were freed. They're currently guests of us, the Galactic Confederation, and they have recovered. Some of them joke that they went from hell to heaven, although I don't think our society is quite heaven. Though it's certainly a whole lot more pleasant than Earth. I empathize with these people, although I also want to physically help you, who are still on Earth. It's not impossible that some of these rescued people will serve as ambassadors when it's finally time for us to land, basically to say, those extraterrestrials aren't evil, they're actually really nice. But, of course, it's up to them if they want to do this or not. Alternatively, maybe Hakann can do a peace dance to break the ice. Earlier in this message I remarked that nice people go to a nice place after death, and people who seriously harmed others go to a still relatively pleasant but not as nice place. This isn't actually to reward the righteous or to punish the wicked. The universe doesn't try to reward the righteous or punish the wicked. The universe is set up with free will as the central value, remember, and hurting others is a valid path from a high perspective. Besides, even people who hurt others are still part of Source, and why would Source hurt parts of itself if they so-called misbehave? If anything, those parts need love and help, not punishment. That's why the afterlife is relatively nice even for people who do bad things. Souls need some rest and recuperation before reincarnating again, after all. No, the reason why souls who hurt others in their last life go to a slightly less pleasant place, is because souls want to know what it's like to be on the other side of that unpleasant experience. By knowing what it's like to both do something unpleasant, and have that unpleasant thing done to them, they can gain soul growth and greater understanding. So if Tom does something horrible to Anna in life, then in the afterlife Tom's soul may experience having that thing done to him, or Tom's soul can look through the eyes of Anna and feel what it was like for her. Hence Tom can know what that unpleasant thing is like as both victim and perpetrator. This way, Tom can learn his lesson and complete the circle, you might say. And this isn't the universe punishing the soul of Tom, this is Tom's soul actually wanting greater soul growth. Souls are more concerned with gaining soul growth than with comfort. Then once Tom has learned this lesson, he can move up to a nicer afterlife, or reincarnate again. Or if Tom doesn't learn that lesson, he can also just reincarnate again and perhaps learn his lessons in physical existence. Your soul isn't in resistance to you, for example, in your current life hurting people and thereby ending up in a less pleasant place after death. Similarly, your soul isn't in resistance to you making a deal with a demon and thereby ending up in a significantly less pleasant place after death, which on earth is often called selling your soul. You may be in resistance to that, but your soul is not. To your soul, it's all just free will choices, it's all just existence and experiences. All paths are valid. To you, ending up in a dark place after your death because you sold your soul seems like an absolute disaster. And sure, I indeed don't recommend that. Yet to your soul, it just looks like another chapter in a very, very long journey back to Source. I hope that was interesting. I enjoyed sharing this with you. In empathy and love. Your star sister, Emerelda.